So my trip to Sorrento began with me flying in to Naples, and then I had to take the train, or really like their little metro, to Sorrento. I made it to Sorrento, which is just gorgeous, truly the Italian city of my dreams. It is on the sea, and so really peaceful. Back there is Mount Vesuvius. And since they're off the coast, they have like these little dock areas. They call it their beach. Not really the beach that we know, like with sand and everything, but you sort of have this dock, you rent a chair, and then you can go jump down into the water. And then by the time I had gotten here, it was maybe, like 6 p.m. or so. So the first task was to get dinner. I had this really nice, like lemon ravioli with mussels, and then this iconic Sorrento dessert called Delizia al limone, which is like a light lemon sponge cake. At the end, they gave me this nice little limoncello. That restaurant was so good. I mean, it might have been because I was so hungry I ended up for hours, but it was delicious. And then I walked around. Sorrento is known for just lemon everything, lemon trees, lemon decorations, which is kind of funny because lemons are not native to Italy. And I went on a tour later that really talked about how the area became known for the lemons. But I just walked around, looked at all the restaurants and the shops in the area. So it was really just very peaceful and nice. This is much of Sorrento. It is more of like a smaller tourist area, not as big as like Rome or Milan or something like that, but it's more of a relaxing tourist seaside city. And so those shops are like really typical around there down the alleyways, but it's just so pretty. So after dinner and a bit of walking around, I went back to my hotel, which was pretty close to the city center, but just off a little bit. And here's my hotel, Hotel Eden. It's set back off the street, which is really good, I think, for noise, even though it is in a quiet area. And it's so pretty. Here we have the lemon tree lined driveway, and they also had a little garden off on the side, which also featured lemon trees, of course, which is really pretty and relaxing. A really nice hotel. I'm glad I found it. It's just like nice and clean and yeah, pretty good. My room was near the top of the hotel and facing the front, so I had this absolutely gorgeous view at like all hours of the day. I can just see the trees, the ocean, and Mount Vesuvius in the distance. Could not have anything better than this. It was a great start to my vacation, just seeing this amazing view out my hotel room. But this day had been a long one. I had not slept at all, so it was time to go to bed. On my second day, I just walked around a little bit, explored the area, just saw what was around, and then I had a walking tour.
Of buildings which you see on the opposite side. That is now known as the entrance of, like in this case.
Well, the walking tours are great. I try to do one anytime I'm visiting some other country and city. You'll have a local guide just take you to places that they think's interesting, or will tell the history of the area. And they are free with like a suggested donation that you give at the end. But it's really great just to find maybe a nice restaurant or like cool areas to see or just little tidbits about the place.
Okay, guys, this is Antonino, one of the last 15 woodworkers left in town, doing the ancient technique of the inlaid woodwork. Antonino is very kind because he's got the lab exposed on site.
So for this tour in Sorrento, he showed us to a lot of little shops that had a lot of like artisan crafts, and then we also got to taste test some stuff along the way.
The summer is going to be completely packed, so there will be children splashing this water everywhere with the black sand. There's hydrofoils running twice as much. Yachts and private boats all docked in the back of those rocks here. So
Limoncello, salty caramel, coconut lemon. We make one line, guys. Okay, Dash family, one line. The pistachio, which is nice. Yeah. Different flavor: lemon, pistachio, cappuccino, meloncello. Nice, meloncello stuff. You guys know.
I did this tour early in the morning, and by the time it was over, it was lunchtime. I had wanted to go up the hill because there were just some reviews that there's a restaurant up there, so I walked up these steep hill and curving roads and came to this restaurant that had sort of like a small farm and garden attached. They had a lot of like small animals like ducks and geese and rabbits too. It was a really interesting place, really nice trees and things outside, so sort of just went past the garden and then had lunch. And I will say the pasta I had was good, but it was the first time after eating a meal that I really felt full, even though I had so many pasta dishes while I was there. This is the first one where I immediately wanted to take a nap afterwards. But I got some ice cream and just hung out, took a little break at my apartment, and then went back out again to just walk around and see where I wanted to eat for dinner. Over the course of my stay in Sorrento, I just kept coming back to the water again and again, just because it is so beautiful and peaceful and nice. Even though the beach isn't what I would call a beach, it's really, really great. And then for dinner that night, I didn't stay in sort of like the main area of Sorrento. I just went off a little ways down the water to sort of a smaller area than like the city center, to a restaurant on the water because a friend of mine had been there and recommended it. So I made a little trek over. In this restaurant, I think I got there at the right time. I did have to wait a little bit to get a seat, but thankfully I was able to get a seat in this nice area. Got this table, had a little limoncello spritz, which was really nice and refreshing, and I was just right against the water, so I had this nice view of the dock, and oh my gosh, this gnocchi was so good. It was absolutely delicious. And I thought, well, when in Rome, when I'm on the water, you gotta get seafood. So I tried out some stuff I normally don't eat, like swordfish and fish and prawns, which was okay. I think it was nice to try it out, but probably didn't need to try it again. And then it was really nice because the sun started setting. I was done dinner and I had my nice view of the restaurant. But then I just walked a little bit down the ocean front and saw like just how beautiful it was. It seemed like an area that the younger townspeople will stay at and sort of like have hangouts on the beach. They had some music playing. It was just really sort of like fun to see. And then on the way back, it was a nice, pleasant walk. And I ended up going back to this gelato place that I walked by earlier. I told him I would come back, and he didn't believe me. But then he was like, "Oh, you came back. You came back for the ice cream." Because I had taste tested it. It was really good. But I was so full at that time. And I had just had that other ice cream, so I didn't get it. But I came back for this because it really did taste good. And this was probably the best gelato I had during this stay in Italy. It was so good. I walked around, explored some more of the little alleyways while I ate my ice cream, looked for spots that I might have to visit a little later. And this Christmas spot, I actually ended up going in and got a little glass lemon ornament. And that was all for this night. I slowly made my way back to my hotel. The next morning, I hopped on a bus and ventured out to Bagni Regina Giovanna, which was basically a really cool area out on the water that had like a little lagoon, and it was free to the public for you to just lounge around. It is one of those more hidden spots, it's easy to look up, and if you put like what to do in Sorrento, this would be one of the things to do, but it's not the most accessible. You have to basically walk down sort of like a hiking trail. There's a lot of rocks and things, but oh my gosh, once you get there, it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at this view. You really can't beat these views. It was so beautiful, and definitely suggest going a little bit earlier to sort of beat the midday afternoon crowd so you can have a little bit more room. There was this more secluded side over here where it was more like a lagoon. Definitely had to do a bit of climbing for this one if you saw earlier, for the rocky pathway. And then here there are steps, but they're very steep and then wet once you get a little lower down. And this spot wasn't too crowded, but there weren't the best places to sit, so then I decided to check out the other side. And here I'm just trying to show that that's Sorrento, sort of the place where I had the seafood dinner the other night. But here's the other side, a little bit easier to get to and also a lot more room. And over here, the rocks were a little bit flatter, so it was easier to find a few places to sit. I ended up going up on the wall here where there's a little ledge that I could sit at, and then I would just come out to get some sun. And then it was really hot where the sun was beating without any wind, so then I would go back to my little area that's a little more shaded. And I probably stayed there for about 2 hours. I brought a book with me and just sort of hung out and enjoyed the atmosphere. So then I made my way back to Sorrento, just wandered around, stopped in a few places, saw some gardens, and then got ready to go on my next adventure. Before coming on this trip, I went on like TripAdvisor or Vider just looking for excursions and things to do. And one of those things was to visit this family farm up in the hills. It was the Benedetto family where they do a tour of their farm, Il Turuzziello, and mainly they grow lemons and also make a lot of cheeses with their cows that they have. Now this family lives in a small town, and by small I mean maybe like 100 or 200 people or so. And so it's sort of like a close community, and the tour guides, who are cousins, basically just showed us around, showed us their local church, and then their sort of like garden area where they had the lemon trees. It was really nice. They gave us like background of how lemons sort of came to Sorrento, and basically why a lot of the trees are covered and they're very well protected. And they gave us a little tour, which was really nice. But the thing that was most interesting was to find out the lemon trees are not native to Sorrento. In fact, they created these lemon trees by basically grafting them onto orange trees. And so every single lemon tree I saw throughout Sorrento was not native. It was not grown from a seed. And this is true for basically all lemon trees, not just in Sorrento. But she basically talked about how you begin growing an orange tree and then you can plant onto it a lemon tree. And for the most part, these guys will then cut off the orange part and just let the lemon survive so that all the energy can go into producing lemons. But I did see in some areas in Sorrento where it had both oranges and lemons basically growing off the same tree. So it was time to head up the hill through the narrow streets. Here you can see some marks where larger cars didn't quite make the turn and scraped themselves. But we had this little putt-putt, and so we quickly went up the streets and we went higher up into the hill to the like more farm area and where they show their products. This was part of the tour. We got to taste test a lot of things, their cheeses, some wine, and got to enjoy the beautiful view up here. I can't even imagine waking up and being able to walk outside and see this view anytime I wanted to. But they talked to us about their family, the farm, how, you know, the uncle is working here and this is one of his son who will soon like grow up and also take over. And they showed us all the different olive oils that have infused flavors in them. This is pretty good. They had some sweet ones, savory, spicy. It was really interesting and nice to try out. After that, we got to the cheese making portion of the tour. They make a lot of cheeses on their own. Some of it like mozzarella, ricotta, provolone. I think they said they're really famous for. For us, they made cacciottine and mozzarella. It was really cool to see him make the mozzarella in real time, sort of just going from these clumps of whey, and he added the hot water and he started mixing. And then as he goes, you just slowly start to mix it and stir it and start pulling on it, and soon it just becomes the elastic mozzarella. And this was so good. We got little samples. We had cacciotine, which is sort of like a ricotta, and then the mozzarella, which was absolutely delicious. I had to get seconds. It was really good. I wish I could have brought some back with me. When we were done with our taste testing, it was time to head back down the hill because we were gonna have pizza back at their home. They had this really cute area set up for us, and we got to make our own pizzas. So they had all the ingredients prepped already, but we basically just kneaded the dough and then put as much ingredients on it as we wanted. And then they cooked it in their stove for us. It came out really beautiful. It was really good. It was pretty late by the time I got back home, so I just took a little walk through the downtown area, grabbed myself a little bit of wine, and then also ended with a little bit of dessert before heading back to the hotel. But overall, it was an amazing day.